We're going to talk about 2 weeks of sales in today's video, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I am living my very best life this summer, which means I'm not doing a lot of reselling. We've been doing some really great traveling. We have been just doing a lot of really great family time, just hanging out, watching old 90s movies. Like we watched recently with the kids like Mighty Ducks 2, Camp Nowhere, Heavyweights, just like the classics. But also, I have never experienced this level of unproductivity, is that a word? Non-productivity, whatever is the opposite of productivity, because of the Olympics. I have been glued to my TV because we've obviously been watching things like gymnastics and swimming, but oh my gosh, like volleyball, men's volleyball, like literally was taking over my life. I like watching women's volleyball too. Beach volleyball is fun, but holy cow, volleyball has been crazy. Men's basketball, almost losing to Serbia. I was screaming at my TV. I have never experienced this level of zero productivity. It's been pretty bad, but we had some sales trickle in, so we're gonna talk about that. Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park. I'm a part-time reseller, and in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you everything that sold for me in 2 weeks, specifically the weeks of June 24th all the way through July 3rd. Yes, we are behind again, but we will get caught up. So we're gonna jump right in by talking about June 24th, which was a Monday, and the first sale that I had come in was an oldie but a goodie. It was on Poshmark, and it was this dress by the brand Cachet. So it was this black chiffon formal halter neck maxi dress. This, I do think, is a dress that was made maybe like in the 90s or 2000s. I think maybe it was just like the look of it, though, wasn't really that like 90s Y2K aesthetic that people are super excited about. I got this like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't remember where it came from. So I'm just saying that I had about $3 into it. That's kind of my average cost of goods. And so it sold for $25 on Poshmark. I made a net profit of $17. The next day of sales was the 25th, which was a Tuesday. On eBay, I sold this Banana Republic blue striped non-iron classic fit button-up shirt in a men's size small. That sold for $15 on eBay. It was just something that my husband wore, and he goes through phases where he'll clean out his closet and get rid of things that he just doesn't need anymore. And honestly, like there's just not very many places that he needs to wear more formal, like, you know, button-up shirts and stuff like that. So this was something that he got rid of, and we made a net profit of $11.98 since we didn't have anything into it. However, I am keeping track of like how much I believe we spent on these things retail, just because it is best practice when it comes to filing taxes to incorporate even the cost of goods of items that you wore, because then that cost of goods is higher and that helps you out come tax season. How? I don't really know. I'm not like a tax expert, but that's just what I've been told, so that's what I'm doing. Also on the 25th on Mercari, I had a few sales come in, which was super surprising because Mercari is either so hot or so just like nothing for me, and the majority of the time it's just nothing. But I had 3 sales this day. So the first thing to sell was this Disney Lion King Hakuna Matata graphic short sleeve t-shirt in a youth size large. This was actually my daughter's. I probably thrifted it for her at like a thrift store or a consignment store or something. It sold for $7 on Mercari, which I was fine with because, you know, Mercari doesn't charge the seller any fees anymore. So that was a straight $7 profit. And also that was something that my daughter had taken pictures of. Of course, I went ahead and listed it for her, but that's her small way of trying to help out my reselling business, is by taking pictures of at least her old clothing. The next Mercari sale was a J. Crew red and black plaid button-up flannel pajama shirt in a men's size medium. This was something that I got in a big lot from a friend of mine at church who was like, hey, I have some stuff if you want to do some kind of consignment deal. To be honest, most of his stuff I sent to a local consignment store, and they're selling it for me just because it really isn't worth my time to list it myself. This, I was like, I'll just try it. It sold for $9, so probably should have trusted my gut and not taken the time to list it, but he made a handsome profit of $3.60, and I got to take home $5.40 on that. And then last but not least on Mercari, another J. Crew sale. This one was J. Crew Factory, and it was this pair of broken and chino neon pink shorts in a women's size 8. They had a 6-inch inseam, and I did put the word Barbie in there. Don't know that that really helps anymore. But I do think, especially if the inseam is a little bit longer, like 6 inches, I think it's helpful to put that information in the listing title because some women are looking for more modest length shorts. They don't want their butt cheeks hanging out and things like that. And honestly, I probably could have also put the word modest in the listing title. Doesn't matter. It, made me some good money. So let's see, it sold for $14 on Mercari. I had gotten that from a reseller buyout that I did last summer. So I had $3.85 into it, and my net profit on those shorts was $10.15. So when I get, lower offers that come in through Mercari, honestly, 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to take it because I know I am not paying for the fees and stuff. So that helps me out a little bit there. Also on the 25th on Poshmark, I sold this pair of Lululemon Groove black pull-on flare pants. These were reversible, which I didn't even know Lululemon did that. I, again, am not a Lululemon expert, but they were reversible. They were in a size 10. Those sold for $55. I had $5 into them from a garage sale that a friend of mine does like twice a year. She just sells through anything that's a little bit more modern, anything that's a little bit more contemporary, so that she can focus on selling vintage clothing. And so my net profit on those pants was $39. Love to see it. Also on Poshmark, I got to move another just super old item that I had in my inventory. It was this pair of Everlane The Editor ivory suede leather slingback pointed toe flats in a women's size 5. I think this was a hard sell for a couple of reasons. One, it was a size 5, which was a much smaller size. I know smaller size shoes are just harder to move, which is sad when people choose not to pick them up just for that reason. It's sad for selfish reasons. It's sad because I wear like a 4.5 or a 5, and it's hard for me to find shoes because not a lot of people want to carry small shoes. That being said, I think that made it hard. Also, they did have some like scuffs and just some exterior wear, if you will, and that's because I got them in a ThredUp rescue box back in 2021. So I've had these suckers for a long time. I'm saying I had about $5 into them. That's about how much I paid per pair of shoe in that ThredUp box many years ago. They sold for $20, and I made a net profit of $11. I also probably had them priced way too high when I first listed them, like way too high. Over the years, I gradually started lowering the price, and I'm just thankful that they finally moved. And they definitely only moved because I relisted them. And I relisted them using a Chrome extension called Posher VA. Posher VA is something that just works in the background for my Poshmark business, and what it does is it'll do things like share my closet for me. It'll do things like relist listings automatically. So I forget how many days old a listing has to be. I want to say it's like 60, but every day Posher VA will just go through and relist up to like 120 items for me or something like that, something crazy. And it's just doing it in the background so that I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to like schedule anything or set any alerts. I just set it up one time in Posher VA and then it just does it. So if you need a helper like that in your life when it comes to Poshmark, definitely try out Posher VA. I will have a link down in the description below where I share with you my coupon code that helps you save 20% off your first payment of Posher VA. So definitely give that a try if you just want to be a little bit more hands-off with your Poshmark business. And then I had a string of no sales days, and this was like right after I got back from my trip to LA. So I had done a whole lot of nothing leading up to this point and was maybe slowly starting to get back into the swing of things, but also was just not really wanting to put much effort into my reselling business. But on the 29th of June, which was a Saturday, on Poshmark, I sold this Athleta gray stripe modern Midtown Metro golf or tennis skirt. Just one of those athletic skirts that can be used for a variety of sports. It was in a women's size small tall, so a little bit longer of a length for the taller girlies with the longer legs. I cannot relate because I am the exact opposite, but that sold for $22 on Poshmark. I had $4.77 into it from my same friend who does the garage sale twice a year, and so my net profit on that skirt was $12.83. And then on the 30th of June, which was a Sunday, on eBay, I had a really great sale. It was this pair of new with tags, Jaded Gypsy Franklin Pure Minerva high-rise distressed jeans in a women's size small or medium. Jaded Gypsy is just such a great bolo brand. It's a brand that I don't feel like you're going to find too often in the wild, but you never know. Like, just definitely take a good look at the tag, commit it to memory, and if you see it, it's definitely worth the pickup, especially if you're finding it like at the thrift store or something. It's a lot of like art to wear, login look, oversized, just kind of boho type of clothing. A lot of it is kind of one of a kind because of the patchwork or like the way that they splatter paint or bleach on the pieces. So this was a really cool piece. It sold for $99.90. That was an offer that I had sent out to watchers. And so after having $23 into it from a pop-up consignment sale, my net profit on those pants was $64.86. That particular trip to that pop-up consignment sale, I must have picked up, I want to say at least 5 or 6 pairs of jeans by Jada Gypsy, and they have been taking a little bit longer to sell than their other pieces. I had some like tunics and t-shirts and like jackety type things. Those things sold like within a week or two. These are taking months, but whenever they do sell, it's making me good profit. So there you go. I could probably lower the price on all of them too, but I don't really want to. So I'm just gonna keep letting them sit until the right buyer comes along. And with some items, I'm totally okay with doing that. I had another great sale on eBay, and it was another item from that same pop-up consignment sale, but it was this pair of Free People brown leather Lucia flats. They were in a European size 37. I put words like handmade because it said handmade on the tag. I put boho, I put cottage, like for cottagecore. They were so cool and just so unique and very beautiful. These sold on eBay for $50. They were promoted at 3%. I had $7.50 into them from that pop-up consignment sale. I believe I got those on the half off day. They originally wanted 15. I just like prayed that they would still be there on half off day, and they were. And so my net profit was $32.88. A lot of times I will pass on Free People shoes, but these just looked so special, and I knew that I had something pretty good on my hands. This next sale was just kind of ridiculous, like the opposite basically of everything that we're talking about. Someone gave this to me for free. I want to say it was someone from church. Actually, I think I got it in a reseller buyout, so I think I had money into it, but I'm just saying I didn't have anything into it. I don't remember where it came from, but it was this Psy. If you remember that Korean singer who had that like breakout song in the States called Gangnam Style, and he did that like crazy dance. Okay, Wes, here you go. Insert a little clip of it here.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
Like this song, I mean, it still makes me cackle to this day when I watch it. Like, it's so funny. And Psy is just like a beloved performer in Korea. And it was really cool to see a Korean star make it in America. And the song wasn't even in English. Like, I don't even think there was a single word in English except for the word style in the whole song. And so it was pretty cool for Koreans to see something like that happen. And then I feel like, you know, BTS came about and all that stuff. This was a Psy Gangnam Style graphic sweatshirt. It was in a youth size 4 to 5. And I put K-pop in the listing title, obviously. Korean, I put the word casual. It's so ridiculous. And for that reason, I was like, I just have to list it. It sold for $12. No, it sold for $6 on eBay, which I was more than happy with because shockingly, it was sitting around for a while. I probably had it listed for like close to a year. And so my net profit on that was $4.60. But it just made me chuckle every time I saw it come across my feed as someone liking the item or, you know, whatever. Just anytime it popped up, I was like, oh yeah, I have that in my inventory. And then the last sale of this week before we talk about the next week of sales was over on Poshmark. It was this pair of Levi's 527 boot cut off dark wash jeans in a men's size 29 by 30. Those I only had $1.11 into because I got them at a bag sale at a local consignment store back in May of 2023, and I sold them for $21 and made a net profit of $15.69. So for this first week of sales that we'll talk about, on eBay I had 4 sales for a gross sales amount of $197.68. My cost of goods for those 4 items was $7.63. And so after you include fees, my cost of of goods, any shipping that I may have had to pay for out of pocket, my net profit on eBay comes out to $114.32. On Mercari, I had 3 sales, which is kind of a lot for me, resulting in a gross sales amount of $30 because those were a lot of like smaller baby sales. I had $7.45 into those 3 items. And so my net profit, because there are no fees, really my only takeaway from that gross sales amount was cost of goods. My net profit was $22.55. And then I sold the most things on Poshmark. I sold 6 items for a gross sales amount of $158, which is less than what I did on eBay. And that's because on eBay, I had some bigger ticket items sell. My cost of goods was higher on Poshmark. It was $27.28 for those 6 items. And so my net profit was $113.12. So in total this week, I sold 13 items for a gross sales amount of $385.68. I had $42.36 into those items, and my net profit was $249.99. So basically $250. So now let's talk about that second week. If you are enjoying this video at all at this point though, go ahead and hit that like button because it does help out my channel a lot when you do that. So thanks in advance. But in the second week of sales, we're going to start by talking about July 2nd because again, there was just like a couple days of $0 sales days, and then on the 2nd of July, which was a Sunday, on eBay, I sold this really cute Anthropologie novelty rabbit print tie front v-neck blouse. It was in a women's size extra small. I got it at Clothes Mentor when I went for the first time back in January of this year. And I actually got this piece for myself, but then when I tried it on, once I got it home, I was like, no, this is not for me. It does not really look very flattering on me. So I just went ahead and listed it, which is one of the beautiful things about thrifting is if you get something for yourself and it doesn't work, no problem. You just list it and make some money off of it, and you will at least make your money back. So that sold on eBay for $25. I had $3.60 into it because that Clothes Mentor was doing a great blowout, like 90% off clearance sale or something along those lines. And so my net profit on that was $16.48. So not a bad way to start July. And I lied. It was July 2nd. A Tuesday, not Sunday. I don't know how to look at the calendar. But on the 2nd, I also had a sale on Poshmark. It was another pair of Free People shoes, which was kind of surprising. This was a pair of Sun Ever, that was the style name, Gladiator pebbled leather ankle wrap sandals in a women's size 7.5. These sold on Poshmark, and I'm not surprised because I don't like to use stock photos on other platforms outside of Poshmark just because they are kind of cracking down on people a lot more, and Poshmark still isn't cracking down in the same way. Like on eBay, you can get Veros. On Mercari, they'll just completely get rid of your listing. Depop, you can get your account shut down. Poshmark, like every once in a while, you'll get an email being like, hey, so-and-so said you're using their stock photo. We got rid of this listing. But it just doesn't happen very often. And for this particular pair of sandals, anything that like wraps around the ankle, it is so hard to take an accurate picture of what that looks like. So I was praying and hoping that there was a stock photo, and there was. So I think that's one of the reasons why this sold is because of that stock photo, and why it didn't sell on other platforms, because they were just sad looking pictures, I think. That sold on Poshmark for $25. I had $4.77 into those from the garage sale that my friend holds twice a year, and so my net profit was $15.23. And then on the 4th of July, which was a Thursday this year, on eBay, I sold this Orvis tan button-up embroidered utility field jacket in a women's size small. That sold on eBay for $22, and it was something that I received, gosh, it's got to be like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I got it from a fellow reseller. I bought out a portion of her inventory, and so I had $3.92 into each item. So after my, cost of goods, after fees and stuff like that, my net profit on that jacket was $15.79. And then on the 5th of July, which was a Friday, on Poshmark, I sold another piece from my friend at church when he sold me but he gave me a lot of clothes that I would sell for consignment with him. And it was this Wallace and Barnes, which I don't want to make stuff up. I want to say it's part of the J. Crew family, but I could be wrong. But it was a Wallace and Barnes gray waffle knit Henley top in a men's size small. This one sold on Poshmark for $20. And so he made a profit of $4 and I made a profit of $12 on that. Is that right? Is that good math? That's not good math at all. I'll have to change that. He gets more than that, but something like that. It's more like he made, oh my gosh, this is how sad my math is. What is 40% of 20? It's $8. He gets $8. He gets $8 and I get $12. Why did I say $4? I can't change it right now, but it's fine. But yeah, he gets $8, I get $12. Okay, math is done. Moving on to July 6th, which was a Saturday. I'm gonna check my math because I will be so ashamed. Yeah, he gets $8, not $4. I am crazy. Okay, moving on to the 6th of July, which was a Saturday. Let's see, on eBay. All right, here's what happened. So first of all, there are okay, hold on, pause. So let me just start off by saying this. I am so lucky because I honestly believe I have the best viewers in the world. Like, I feel like I am a very flawed human being. I make a lot of mistakes. I say a lot of dumb things, whatever. Like, I am not the epitome of just perfection and like all resellers should be like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I hope I never come across as trying to claim to be that, because my goal is to just show up as honestly and like authentically as possible. So I feel so humbled and so thankful and so blessed that you guys are just the best audience ever and continue to support me in the best way, whether it's just being here to watch my videos, whether you are just leaving nice comments, or even taking it to the next level and purchasing items from me. So I've had a few people who just consistently show up and make purchases from me, and lately it's been Reese and Casey, and you guys are amazing. However, this is where I failed them, okay, I failed one of them. Both wonderful ladies came through this particular day on different platforms, and they both purchased bundles, and there was one item that both of them purchased in each bundle. And they literally made purchases within like 30 minutes of each other. And when the first bundle was purchased, I wasn't able to get over and like delete things right away just because I was like doing other things. And in that span of time, another bundle was purchased with one of the same items in it. And so I felt so bad because that stinks when that happens, and it stinks even more when that happens to one of you. And it happened to Casey because Reese came in first, bought this one sweater, and then Casey came in and bought it after the fact. And I had to tell her, I'm so sorry, it already sold to someone else. I refunded her the amount for that item, plus I refunded her for some of the shipping because it was like an eBay bundle. We were able to put them together and I was able to pay a lot less for shipping than what she had to pay me. So I sent her, some money back, and then I proceeded to ship that bundle to someone who got something from me on Poshmark, and I used the wrong label. So it was just so many mistakes upon mistakes. And Reese, the person who purchased the other bundle, not too long ago purchased something from me, and like the inner lining of a coat was messed up. And so I don't know why these people come back to purchase from me again and again. But Reese and Casey, thank you, because you guys are amazing, and I appreciate your support in the ways that you support me, even when I continue to mess up and just fail you. So I apologize again, but thank you guys for being so patient with me. So let's talk about those sales. And again, just wanting to be as transparent with you as possible, because this is a part of reselling. Like, everybody makes mistakes, and I think it's all about how we learn from them and what we do in those instances to right our wrongs, if that makes sense. So we're going to start by talking about the eBay sale, and this is what went out to Casey. She came in and just put together like the most amazing bundle. It was 5 items originally, but again, one of those items I had to refund her for because I just didn't have it anymore since it had sold to Reese earlier that day. Furthermore, I did have to pay a lot more for shipping in general after the fact, just because I sent it to the wrong person. I was able to reach out to that person, that Poshmark buyer, And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to send you a shipping label to send that box back to me so that I can send it back to Casey. And that's because that was what made Casey feel a little bit more comfortable. So that Poshmark buyer could have been like, no, I'm just going to keep this stuff. And like, there's not really anything I could have done about it, I feel like. But thankfully, she was like, yep, that's fine. I sent her the label that I had to pay for out of pocket. So she used that label to send the box back to me. And then I had to repurchase a label to send the stuff back to Casey for realsies. So I paid for shipping 3 times. And what I did was I took the cost of all of the items together and just divided everything by 4. So it's going to look like everything cost the same amount. I paid the same amount of shipping for everything. That's not really what happened, but it was just the easiest way to do math because this was such a ridiculous bundle because of all the mistakes that I had made along the way. So the first thing in this bundle was this pair of Patagonia Addy Ruffle Pete Brown slouch leather ankle boots in a women's size 8. Those I got from Clothes Mentor, that same like clearance sale when I went earlier in the year. I had $7 into those. So I'm saying every single item sold for $32.82. That's like the average sales price between those 4 items in this bundle, but the purchase price will be different for everything. So once you factor in the 3 times that I paid for shipping, the cost of goods and fees and all that stuff, my net profit on that pair of boots was $12.02. The next item that she got was this Christopher and Banks red button-up cardigan sweater. It had like metallic threading throughout, and it was in a women's size large. That I got from a different reseller buyout a few years ago. I had $2 into it. Again, we're saying it sold for $32.82. Definitely didn't sell for that much, but that's one of the ones that, because of the average, the number went higher. And my net profit on that was $17.02. The next thing to sell in this bundle was this Michael Stars gray long sleeve black mesh panel t-shirt. It was a one size fits most. That I got from a coworker of mine that I'm doing a consignment deal with. So she gets 40% of that cut at $7.61. Again, I'm saying it sold for $32.82. So my net profit was $11.41. And the final piece in this bundle was this pair of Coach tan Barrett logo low top patent leather cap toe sneakers in a women's size 8B. Those I got last May at a local consignment store during their it's like their birthday sale. It's like a bag sale. So I had $3.47 into those at that time. Again, we're saying that they sold for $32.82. And so my net profit after all of the shipping, all of the fees is $15.55. Casey, thank you for not wanting to kill me after all that. Again, she was just so patient, so kind, so loving, so just gracious. And that's what I mean. Like, you guys are simply the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the next bundle that we'll talk about went out to Reese, and thankfully this one got sent to her right away without me shipping it to the wrong person or anything like that. But the first item in her bundle was this J. Jill black and gray striped funnel neck sweater tunic. It was in a women's size medium large. I put the word chunky in there. This is something that I got from a reseller buyout last year, and so I had about $3 into it. It sold for $25 as part of that bundle, so my net profit on that was $22. Another thing that she got from me was this t-shirt. It was from one of my favorite 90s TV shows, Friends. It had a quote on it on the front. I don't remember what it said. You'll see the picture of the t-shirt, but it was made of 100% cotton. It was in a size extra large. I put the names like Chandler, Monica, Phoebe, I put 90s in there, and that sold for $16. I had $2 into it from a reseller buyout, so my net profit on that one was $14. And then the sweater that both Casey and Reese had purchased, but Reese had purchased first, was this vintage, I'm so bad at French, guys, fait à la main. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Fait à la main.
But I think when I hauled it in a video a while ago, someone told me that that means handmade. And that was this 100% pure wool orange 3/4 sleeve sweater in a women's size large. It did have some flaws. There were some like pulls in the fabric, And I want to say there was like a part where, I don't know, it was just like a lot of wear. It wasn't a hole, but it was like, I don't even know how to describe it, but I took pictures of it and made sure to, disclose that in the description. That item sold for $34. I had $3 into it from a local consignment store, and so my net profit on that was $31. So Reese, thank you so much for your purchase and for your continued support of my small business. You are the best. Thank you. Also on the 6th of July, I don't even know if I ever said the date, but that was a Saturday. On Poshmark, I sold this David's Bridal Plum Maxi Long Flutter Sleeve Bridesmaid Dress in a women's size 16. This I got in a reseller buyout for $3.85 last summer, and it sold for $42, and so my net profit was $29.75. I did disclose and take pictures of a pretty big run that was, at the bottom of the skirt. And you find that a lot on bridesmaids dresses. Like, you find a lot of flaws on bridesmaids dresses. And that's like the main reason I hate selling them, is because, people wear these things to weddings for long stretches of time. They're dancing, they're drinking, they're spilling things, they're getting, sweat stains all over these dresses. And I rarely find them in good condition. This I didn't pick up. It was part of a reseller buyout, and I did notice the flaw on the skirt, and that's why I was able to photograph it and disclose it. However, the person gave me a 2-star rating because they said that there was picking at the bodice. I don't know what that means. I wonder if she meant puckering? I don't know. I don't know what she could have meant by that, but she said there was a flaw that I had not disclosed, and so she gave me 2 stars. I mean, I still got my money. Nobody else is going to see that rating, but it just goes to show that as carefully as you look over a bridesmaid's dress, chances are, especially if it's used, you're missing something. So just be super careful when you're looking those over. And then the final sale that we'll talk about in today's video came in on July 7th, which was a Sunday. New to me brand. It's like a new activewear brand that I have personally never sold before. It's spelled F-L-E-O. I don't know how you say it. I don't know if it's Fleo, if you're supposed to just say the letters in succession, but it was this El Toro pair of purple high-rise ankle leggings in a women's size large. I just tried them out because they were at Plato's Closet during a 90% off clearance sale that I went to on June 28th. And so you can see that these sold almost instantaneously, barely even took a week to sell. I only had $1.40 into them. And I did look up comps while I was at the store. I saw the leggings and I was like, I've never heard of this brand. Let's just see what happens if I look them up. And what happened was they were worth a good amount. So I went ahead and listed them for maybe around $40, got an offer really quickly for $34, thought that was super reasonable, accepted it, and made a profit of $25.80. So let me know what you know about that brand, Fleo, but I was very happy with it. And if I find leggings by that brand in the future, I will most likely pick them up. So this week I sold 6 items on eBay for a gross sales amount of $191.48. I had $27.60 into those items, and so my net profit was $88.27. I had 3 Mercari sales, all sales that went to Reese in her bundle, and that was for $75 as my gross sales amount. I had $8 into those 3 items, and so my net profit was $67. On Poshmark, I sold 4 items for a gross sales amount of $121. My cost of goods was $14.02, and so my net profit was $82.78. So in total, I sold 13 items for a gross sales amount of $387.48. I had $49.62 into those 13 items, and so my net profit was $238.05. And if we're talking about the 2 weeks in total, my net profit for the 2 weeks was $477.89, which is not amazing because ideally we would be making even more than that just in 1 week of sales. But I have thoroughly just been enjoying my summer, taking it easy on purpose, just kind of relaxing, just kind of making space in my day to enjoy time with family, allowing for flexibility to spend time with friends, and I don't know, just to live life. I feel like I'm very capable of getting too in the zone, and I've got my blinders on and I'm not able to see anything else. And I think that's dangerous. You miss out on opportunities to do a lot of really cool things and spend time with those that you love. And I think I've grinded really hard for many years, and the goal has always been like more, whether it's more money, more, everything. But now I think I'm at a point where I'm kind of like, you know what, like it's okay to coast a little bit. I think I've earned that right, and it's okay to enjoy why I worked so hard, So with school starting up again next week, I actually am looking forward to it in the sense that I think it's going to provide a sense of stability again in terms of like everything's not so like loosey-goosey the way that it is in the summer for a family with 2 teachers as parents, but it gives more structure, and I have to like build time in throughout the day to do things like list and photograph and even film and stuff. And when I schedule things out, when I have a plan, that's usually when things get done. So I'm hoping that that will lead to more consistency even here on YouTube and just in other areas of my life, especially when it comes to my reselling business. But man, it's been a great summer. I'm really sad to see it come to an end, but there's always next summer. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you want more content like this showing up in your feed from me. But as always, I appreciate you so very much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.